Welcome to this edition of the Why We Plan podcast. I'm John Brown, founder of BEI. We're here at our national conference that we have every year in Denver, Colorado, and we have a gathering of a lot of our BEI members here to engage in a little more high-level learning each year. And with me today, I'm happy to say, is Joe Markovitch. Joe is a little different than a lot of our members in a good way. So first of all, he's Canadian, so that means he's a lot nicer than the rest of our American BEI members. But he also is taken up exit planning as another practice area. And I'm interested in having you hear why he's done that, why he's planning, which happens to be very similar to the Why We Plan podcast. So Joe, welcome to the program. Tell us a little bit about your professional background and tell us about a client that I think caused you, in part at least, to want to learn more about exit planning.
Yeah, well, my life in business has gone on for more than 35 years. Mm-hmm. I started in the marketing and advertising business, working in the corporate environment. And then I left that to start my own business. I started a bakery business in Vancouver that's been operating for now 27 years. Wow. And a bit of an institution in Vancouver. So if anybody gets there, should check it out. It's called Solly's. And I exited that business about 10 years ago. I had my own exit experience, which I learned a lot from. Mm-hmm. And then decided to pursue business advisory. I really felt I could help other business owners, startups to, have an experience in business, to learn from my mistakes, to learn from the successes I've had. And I've been doing that practice for about 7 years now. Mm-hmm. with a company in Vancouver. But it occurred to me that the advisory work that we were doing, which was around strategic planning and growth and systemization, all that, kind of took us to the door, but not really past that. And
that's interesting.
I felt there was something lacking in what we were doing. We were looking at, where the business needs to be in 5 years and what the sales are going to look like and all that stuff, and trying to build value into the business, but never really kind of got past that point. Mm-hmm. And as I started to think about, I met other business brokers that were there, and they started to talk to me about, that they're getting clients or getting business owners that are coming to them wanting to sell their business, but they weren't ready. Mm-hmm. They just weren't ready, and they thought that their business was worth much more than it actually was. And I started to think, well, really, that's something that we could really be helping them to close that gap between what they think it's worth and what it actually is worth. And I started to look into that, and I found exit planning. It was a whole kind of field that I wasn't even aware of. And I just became more interested because it was a holistic approach, and it was really something that really, in a sense, was the culmination of a life's work in business in terms of what the owner is going to leave, the legacy he's going to leave, the retirement he's going to have, and all that. And I just thought this is an area that was really worth pursuing from a knowledge standpoint.
Excellent. So now that you're an exit planner, you've done a lot of training. Has your relationship with business owners, either potential clients or your existing clients, has that been affected by that? Are you doing something differently, approaching issues differently?
Yeah, I've noticed now with my existing clients that, things are in the top of my mind. My mind is spinning around when we talk about key employees. And for example, I'm saying, okay, let's see how key employees are really important. We just promoted someone to a general manager. And I started to ask my clients questions about that. Mm-hmm. And I have a client in Germany that I've been working with for a long time. And they're a youngish couple that own the business. And I thought, they're probably not thinking about exit planning, but I thought I would just raise the question. And they said, we are thinking about selling the business in 5 years. And I said, well, that's interesting, because I started to share with them what I'm learning from the BEI courses that I've been engaged with, and start to share about, how to keep our key employees there, the value of them long term to the value of the business, and all these things just started opening my mind and opening my client's mind to this. So it's been very, very thought-provoking.
Well, it's interesting that we have a Canadian exit planning advisor doing exit planning in Germany.
Yes.
That's great, because that kind of illustrates that the planning process that we talk about all the time, it's the same everywhere.
Uh-huh.
What are the issues a business owner is facing? What are the owner's values and goals? How do we address those issues through a planning process? So that process really, the exit planning process we work with and teach advisors about, it's really universal.
It is.
It addresses common business owner issues, helping them grow value in a way that allows them to leave the business on their terms.
That's true. And I have a client in Vancouver who is, in the food processing business, and he's getting on. He's probably in his 60s, and he's the kind of guy who's just kind of devoted his life to his business, working all the time. Doesn't have much of a life outside of his business, and he often complains about that. And there are areas as I think about it where, as an advisor, we wouldn't kind of get into some areas about his legacy, his life, his children, all that sort of stuff seem to be beyond the scope of the work we're doing. But now I'm finding that that's a really important conversation to be having with him.
Yeah, that's right. And I think part of what exit planning can do to benefit advisors and their clients is that we learn about the values business owners have, and that in a lawyer relationship, I was a former lawyer, or CPA relationship, or even a financial advisor relationship, we often don't get into a values-based planning,
right,
and goal setting planning, because we're just a lawyer, we're just a CPA, we're just a financial advisor. But I think with exit planning as a theme, everything opens up, as you pointed out at the very beginning. It just opens up all of that for discussion, and you've determined a way that you can help the owner, and you do it.
Exactly right. It's such an important area and such an important field that I'm hoping in Canada, like when I talk to business owners about exit planning, there's just such a lack of knowledge, or even kind of what is this about. But I think when a business owner, and through my own experience in starting and growing a business, all that energy and effort and hard work and sweat equity that you put in your business, it's really important at the end of the day that when you do walk away from it, hopefully in a healthy way, that you're going to be leaving behind something that you're very proud of. You're going to have a life still left that you can live and enjoy. And isn't that what it's about?
Well, that's exactly why we plan. So, Joe, thank you so much.